Why doesn't God speak to me? I've had concerned people come and ask me that question. They go on to describe what's been going on in their life. They'll say something like, I've been talking to God over and over again, asking him to talk to me, but I don't hear anything. Sometimes people will say, I've been sitting and waiting and listening to God's voice, but it never comes. And so they'll come and they'll ask me, why doesn't God speak to me? It can be deflating. It can be damaging to their faith. Why doesn't God speak to me? Do you know what the answer is? He does. God does speak to you and to me and to every other person. The problem is that we often look in the wrong places for God's voice. God doesn't speak to us through some whisper in our ear. Instead, God has chosen to speak to us through his word, which is written down in the Bible. This idea that God should speak to us in some other way, other than his word, has been around for just about as long as there have been people. Way back in the Old Testament of the Bible, in Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 28, God says this. He says, "Let the prophet who has a dream recount the dream, but let the one who has my word speak it faithfully. For what has straw to do with grain, declares the Lord." You understand what God is saying? Even back in those days, people were claiming that God would speak to them, like through dreams or visions or things like that. And God says, oh great, if there's somebody who's got a dream, let him speak their dream. But that's not what I'm concerned about. God says, let the one who has my word speak it faithfully. And then he makes this comparison. What is straw to do with grain? And maybe we're not all farmers today, but clearly straw is nothing compared with grain, which is what actually feeds and sustains us. Your faith doesn't depend on hearing some voice of God in the back of your head. Your faith depends on the word of God. Let the one who has my word speak it faithfully. Why doesn't God speak to me? You know, God's actually spoken 550,000 words to you. That's about how many words there are in the Greek and Hebrew of the Bible. 550,000 words. In English, it becomes like 750,000 words. Do you want to know that you're loved? Open up to John 3:16. For God so loved the world. Do you want to know about God's grace? Read about the lost son in Luke chapter 15. Do you want to know about heaven? Read Revelation chapters 21 and 22. Dear friend, God does speak to you. He speaks to you all the time. Every single time you open up his word, you can hear his voice. God has a precious message for you because he loves you.